Bring in Peter King. The website is themmqb.com, and Peter joined us here on the show. Peter, what do you make of this seemingly groundswell of support for Mariota from draftniks out there over the last couple of days?
Well, I think when there is basically 15 years before the draft, it's way too long. You're going to have a lot of debate and a lot of conspiracy theories floating around that basically, are logical. And I mean, clearly, I don't think it's an absolute lock that Winston is going number one. But at this point, as we sit here now, I guess 16 days before the draft, 15 days before whatever it is, I feel strongly that he will go number one and that Marcus Mariota will go two or beyond. I think that, and I wrote this yesterday, you're not really hearing much out of Tampa, period, but you're certainly not hearing much out of Tampa that says they've reopened the process or the process is open or anything like that. And that could be totally part of their design, that they're a bunch of sphinxes right now and they're not saying anything. But I believe that they're going to take Jameis Winston number one on April 30th.
What does Tennessee want to do?
I still think they're going to take Mariota, Chris, but I do think that they would be open for business. And if San Diego would be willing to talk Phillip Rivers, Ken Whisenhunt would certainly want to listen, because Whisenhunt loves Phillip Rivers. He loved him when he was offensive coordinator in San Diego. But as I keep reminding everybody, and I understand that the San Diego coaching staff and scouting staff is in Eugene, Oregon, to work him out. And so it's clear that there's some level of interest in San Diego in Mariota without any question. But I still think that it's likely that Phillip Rivers stays in San Diego and Tennessee takes Mariota number two.
We know what Mariota was coming out of college. Great kid, winner, good arm, all those things. But has he shown anything in individual workouts, the combine, what have you, the last 3 or 4 weeks that have created an even more positive impression for Mariota?
No, I don't think anything has happened in the last 3 or 4 weeks to bring up more questions about Mariota. And Chris, I would only say this. I think it's very rare when it's a year like last year when Teddy Bridgewater in his workout opened up a lot more questions about who he was as a player and what his individual skills were. And I say it's very rare because when's the last time you remember a coach or general manager, after they drafted somebody, saying, yep, his individual workout really changed our mind?
Yeah.
Most teams, at the end of their final year in college, that's what they use. They look for little things during individual workouts, but not big things. I think Bridgewater is one of the few examples where opinions really change based on a workout.
He's Peter King. The website's themmqb.com. You can read Peter's column, The Monday Morning Quarterback, there, up right now. Peter joining us here, Dan Patrick Show. Is the NFL hoping that we just forget about the Ted Wells report? I say that facetiously,
so. I don't
of
think
course.
so.
You know.
I mean, I think the NFL basically has cast their lot with Ted Wells. And after the Miami report, I think people in and around the league were very pleased with the thoroughness of the Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin investigation. Not everybody was entirely happy with all of the results of the investigation, but as far as how thorough it was and how many people they interviewed and the forensic evidence that was reviewed by Ted Wells and his staff, they were very happy about that. So the only point I'm making is that if you cast your lot with Ted Wells, and it takes 14 weeks, which is how long it took him with the Miami investigation, I don't think it should be shocking that we're now on day 81 without a report on the Wells thing. It's just my opinion, Chris, is that I'm going to want a very good explanation at the end of this as to why something that does not seem to be that deep and that difficult, why something does not seem to be that deep or difficult is taking is taking 81 days. I just think it's too long. I think everybody does.
And that's the question, Peter, because from the outside, when I watch this investigation unfold, the longer it takes it makes you think that something is up somewhere. And I'm not saying it could be New England, it could be Indianapolis, it could be something to do with the referees and the balls. I mean, do you get any sense of which way this investigation is going and where they might be looking closer at?
I get no sense whatsoever of which way it's going. It's been a fairly, just like the Miami thing was, it seems to me that since the initial flurry of the first week, and then I think it was like maybe day 4 or 5 of the investigation, Wells told everybody to clam up. And everybody pretty much has clammed up since then. So, Chris, I don't know which direction it's going. Everybody's trying to read the tea leaves and say, well, he's taking so long, so he must have some significant forensic evidence, some text messages sent to, sent among patriots trying to hush this up. I mean, who knows? But all of that to me is speculation, and I don't think there's anything right now that anybody truly knows about the outcome of this, of what the investigation is going to be.
Good to visit with you, Peter. Appreciate the time as always.
All the best, Chris. Thank you.
That's Peter King, the MMQB.com, SI.com here on the Dan Patrick Show.